Located in the scenic Texas Hill Country between historic Mason and Fredericksburg, Premier Ranch offers top-of-the-line hunting for trophy white-tailed deer. This historic icon of Texas is the perfect backdrop for a hunting experience of a lifetime. This is Blue Collar Adventures.
Growing up ranching is a simple life. It taught me values crucial to carrying on our heritage. Living off the land and taking care of the animals on it was part of life. From the mountains in Montana, the deer stands in Texas, to the plains of Africa, I have been blessed to go on these great adventures. This is where we practice conservation. Hunting and fishing plays a major part in this effort. Being out here with my family, my friends, is what makes memories that will carry me through my lifetime. I'm just a simple blue-collar guy with a passion for the outdoors, and I want to bring that to you.
Well, you know you found the right place when you can't wait to get back and see the people. We're coming back in. We hadn't been here in a while. Jed's been out scouting. He's got me a really nice big buck found, and it's football season here in Texas, so he's going with his son to go watch football. So he sends his stunt double, twin brother, Jay, with us, and we go out to the blind for the first day. Insight Nutrition is, I don't know how it's still legal. Every time we put it out, we've got bucks standing on it. We've got one little buck, he's so addicted to it, we named him Peanut Butter. And we put this stuff out in the downwind. This buck comes loping in and he camps on this stuff, and every time we come back, he waits for us to put it out and he's on it. What I like about using it is they come to it early, and you can kind of position them where you need them to be when you're bow hunting. That's real important. You know, a lot of these blinds that you have certain shooting lanes, and when you can't shoot in that lane, it's pretty stressful sitting there watching a buck that's in range, but you can't get a shot on him. So we use it as a tool. Not only does it draw the bucks in, it puts them where you want them. We got to come out and enjoy the ranch this spring. I got my first axis buck, and we talked about coming out for a whitetail hunt. And this ranch is so lush and taken care of so well that the deer are just probably a little bit overpopulated. There's so many whitetail in this place, and they've got some great old bucks that have been here. And that's what we were gonna be doing, is trying to find one of those old mature bucks, try and shoot him with my bow. And I thought it was gonna be a little bit easier, but as big as this ranch is, and as many places they have to go, these old bucks are smart, they're wily, and it takes a while for them to get in. And when you've got a cameraman or a camera woman and a guide and a bow hunter and a pop-up blind 25 yards, it makes it really tough. I got this big buck found, and we get out there, and he comes out of this big love grass field, and he comes sneaking in. And I'm just that guy. If he's not standing there relaxed, I won't take a shot. I won't draw back. I know that Jed's looking at me like, man, he's 24 yards. Are you gonna shoot? And I never found a place to pull back and try him on. And so we did this a couple times, and it is like it's a cardiovascular workout, because your heart rate is up. They're right there. You're trying to hold your bow as still as you possibly can. And he just knows something's not right. He comes in, he faces us, he turns around. About the time he gets broadside and I think about shooting him, he makes another move. And that's what makes bow hunting so exciting. And when they're a big mature buck like this, they're a little smarter, they're a little harder to get with your bow, and it makes it more of a challenge.
Blue Collar Adventures, proudly sponsored by Taco Casa. Real fresh, real food, real good. Kuiu Ultralight Hunting. Capri Camper. Most affordable camper on the road. Carbon Express. Traeger Wood Pellet Grills. Cinnamon Creek Ranch Ultimate Archery.
Well, Jed, he's not only the main guide here at the ranch. He makes sure the cattle are taken care of and makes sure everything on the ranch is going great. You know, they've got some of the nicest Angus cattle out here, probably in the country. So Jed, he's out checking cows. He trusts us enough to go. We know exactly what this buck looks like. We've been in front of him a couple times. And sure enough, here he comes. We've got him right there. He's in between 30 and 20. I'm trying to wait. I've waited this long. I'm gonna get him perfect. And he camps out under the corn. And I think here it is. I finally am gonna get this buck. I passed 2 different times on him not to pull back. And I pull back, everything feels perfect. And I really don't even have an excuse. I missed. I don't know if it was my heart rate going too fast, my arrow shaking out of the release, but he knew that we shot at him. This buck, man, we may not see him again this season. I don't know why it always works out. You know, we got to do some management on this ranch, and here's a bunch of spikes come in, and Jed says, hey, if you want us to meet in your freezer, take one out. Of course, I can make a perfect shot on a spike every day of the week. It's the big ones that get me. You know, there's more target there, so you would think that you could hit them better, but you know, I got a spike on the ground, got some meat in the freezer. And another thing about this ranch is I've never ever seen more turkeys than I have right here. This place is overrun. I like to say it's infested. You know, you see turkey at every set and they'll come in, they'll wipe out everything you've got down on the ground to get a shot at a deer. Well, I did bring my ice hole cooler, so you know, I had a little room, so why not put a spike in there? And there's still a little bit more room. And here comes a turkey. And this ranch is so big and they have so much to eat and so much cover that it's really hard this time of year to even pattern them. And so, you know, we decide, let's go to another blind. Crystal's got her bow. She needs to shoot a buck here in Texas this year. And we get to the blind, put her out, some Insight Nutrition to shoot over, and not long, here comes some bucks.
I can see this road you're leading me down. It's a little lonely trail without.
In a mature buck like this is the perfect mature 8. This is probably one of the coolest bucks I think a person can harvest here in Texas. He's giant, he's fat, he's old, and he's just a solid 8. He's got an 8 main frame, he's got those main beams that almost touch, big giant G2s. Here I am, here's a chance to salvage the show. I've got the best shooter of the crew, Crystal, with her bow. You know, this girl shot an antelope with her bow, so a whitetail's just a layup. We got him at 24 yards. I'm looking through the camera thinking, man, here's my show. It don't work out. About the time she hit her release, her elbow bumped the blind and just enough. It's just fractions in bow hunting. It moved it enough where it shot under his belly and he's gone. And man, I don't know how many rounds we're gonna go with these big bucks, but we're gonna keep going.
Blue Collar Adventures, proudly sponsored by Nature Blinds, the most realistic hunting blinds on the planet. Freedom Power Sports, Huskama Optics, Colt Competition, Texas Edition, Liberty Safes, proudly made in the USA. Fleer Hunting and Outdoors.
Well, they were gracious enough to let us come back. You know, when we're shooting a hunting shows, you got 13 episodes to shoot in one season. So we're traveling all over, trying to squeeze it back in. We go back after him. It's like coming home for the weekend. It's like coming home to see friends. We get to see Steve and Margaret. We go have dinner with them in Mason, Texas. A really cool little town. Jed and Victoria are there. And I decided this time I'm gonna go straight 6.5 Creedmoor. You know, this is our last chance at him. And the buck that I was after, he is nowhere to be found. The rut's just starting to kick off. And this ranch is big enough, there's a bunch of these mature bucks on here. and there's a classic hill country 7-year-old buck hanging out in the brush. And Lee, the rookie, he's gonna take us out. He is the son-in-law, and he's new to guiding, but he's trying to learn everything he can. So I've also got Carson with me for the weekend, and it's really hard to bow hunt. She wants to go the blind with us, so we go get in a rifle blind. And we sit there with Lee, and Lee had actually gone out scouting for me the day before, and he saw this big old buck, and this buck's a bruiser. He's a tank. You can tell he's mature, and that's what I'm after. It doesn't matter if he scores 110 or 250. It's a big, mature buck. He's the right one to go. You know, that's what whitetail hunting's kind of all about. I open another window on the blind. I start glassing him with my Vortex. That's what's great about these bigger Vortex. I take them to the blind. You know, these are 15s. It gives me a little more range, and you know, we decide that's him. And so when you're filming a show, by the time you get your rifle on them, the camera on them, they could be gone. So all I have is a whitetail butt going into the brush, and that's it. So we know he's here, and so I got to get my bag of tricks. I got to figure out what he's doing. We've got Insight's nutrition laid out. That draws them in, gets them where we need them in the Sendero, but it's the rut. And one thing I know an old buck could go after is a doe that's hot. I get out there, I've got some doe estrus, I put it out, I put it in the Sendero so it's kind of drifting around, and it's just getting light. And one thing, you know, another part about a hunt show is sometimes you don't get to shoot. If the camera operator says it's too dark, it doesn't matter, you don't get to shoot. We're here to make a good show for the ranch, so this buck comes out 30 yards next to us, cruising to the feeder, goes through the brush, pops out at 100 yards. Got my Husqvarna crosshairs on him, got my new 6.5 Creedmoor. What could he ask for? Well, maybe about 15 more minutes of light. It's dark, and this buck isn't interested in any type of food. He came in there to find that hot doe that I hung on the bushes, and he's looking around, and of course, here he comes. He's walking straight up the Sendero. I could have shot him with my bow. That's kind of how it happens. You get your rifle out to get a bow shot. Walk straight to the blind. I mean, he's literally 10 feet from the blind. Goes down the Sendero, ducks in the brush. He's gone. My rookie Lee says, hey, let's look out the back. There's one more Sendero, maybe he'll cross. And we get everything set, turn around, and we're looking the opposite way as we started. It's light enough now. Place is big and there's lots of deer, but it's tough. So I got my new rifle out, and that buck walked right underneath us. He's checking for does, and he's not feeding, so you just got to catch him in his little pattern. He just happened to walk out. He was close. Now that's what you call a mature hill country buck. Out here at the Premier Ranch, we've been coming out here, we've got my first axis here. We started chasing whitetail, and there's tons of whitetail on this ranch. There's more deer than you can see anywhere else, but to get a mature buck like this has been tough. I've tried it with my bow, we've tried all different kinds of sets, and we've got in some mature bucks in front of me. I just couldn't close the deal, so I got my new rifle out, my new Compton Custom, and I just teamed up with the Husqvarna scopes, and so I was excited. I thought, well, I'm gonna be able to make a long shot, and you know, great glass, great optic, great rifle. The deer comes out at 40 yards. This buck was out just checking for does. It's that time of year. We've been watching the younger bucks check does for a couple of days, and this buck was just cruising. And this time of year, you rattle one up or you catch them cruising. You just get lucky. You know, this year, I don't know if that I want to go back out and hunt whitetail, but this species is so exciting. When the season starts again and you start seeing them, everyone is unique. And when you see a big mature buck, it still gets me excited. You know, I can't tell you how blessed I am to be able to get out and see deer like this, and every now and then harvest one. I mean, that's what it's all about for us. It's awesome. I could share a great time this morning with some friends and family, and Yeah, we're not the traditional hunting show. I'm not real serious, and I didn't jump up and down and beat my chest, but on the inside, I'm so excited. I'm just so grateful to have these opportunities and to have opportunities with the people I'm with.
Blue Collar Adventures, proudly sponsored by Spot Hog, the world's toughest archery products. Vortex Optics, the force of optics. Newmont Mining Corporation, Stealth Cameras. Lit Coolers, get cool, get tough, get lit. Mariama, the power of outdoor power.
I got involved with this ranch because of Steve Haverla, the landowner. Great people. Steve called me and said, hey, I need you to look at this place. It's got some great opportunity for quail hunting, which it does. The habitat is wonderful. Steve Haverla was the Land Steward of the Year, which is a tremendous accomplishment, and getting involved with those guys is something I really wanted to do. We get out here, we find a lot of native birds. What you find in Central Texas is not a lot of quail hunting or upland hunting, mainly because everyone's focused so much on deer hunting. Our deer season really takes us from October 1 into November. We're pretty much finished with it, which opens up a lot of months for some great world-class wing shooting.
The Quail Coalition, they raise money to help habitat for quail here in Texas, and they do a lot of conservation work. But they sold a hunt to go out and hunt, and I was part of that package. I was going to go out and probably make them feel better about their shooting. So we get out here, I meet two great guys. They brought their dog, and we got to do a little quail hunting. And this place has just got the best cover. There's so many wild birds on here, and sometimes they'll supplement it a little bit to have a good shoot. You know, and guys that have great dogs, this is a place to come. You know, we got to hunt over these dogs pointing and working, and you can tell these guys, that's what they came for. It's great to shoot a quail, but when they see their dog go on point and they were working on him being better. We got two dogs, both of them named Biscuit. It kind of was one of those mornings that really just made me hungry for breakfast. When you watch these dogs run through this cover, it's just amazing the amount of country they cover. We put the GoPro on Biscuit, and just to see him running through this grass and working, it's amazing. It's amazing to see this angle. It was a fun morning. You know, Justin and Patrick, these guys are serious quail hunters. They hunt all over Texas, so they really enjoyed it here at Premier Ranch. They bought this hunt to help the Quail Coalition do conservation, and I tell you what, nothing better on my Traeger than some backstrap and some quail. Why not go sit in the rifle blind? It's Crystal's turn. We both had a chance with our bow. Didn't work out. It's time to get a big deer on the ground. And it's the last night. Crystal and I go after a big 8-point. Of course, Carson abandoned us for Katie Ray. She had Victoria's daughter. She had enough of the hunting. So it was just Crystal and I, which, you know, that's what it's about. Spend a little time in the blind, getting to watch a big deer, and Insight's nutrition has been something else. This deer attractant is lights out. Everywhere we've put it, they're there, they're camped out on it. And again, with a camera, and when you're trying to get that shot on film, it's a great tool. We can position the piles where we need them to get on camera and get the great shot. And actually, you know, when it's brushy like this, we can put it out in the open where we're gonna catch them. This chess match continues. This buck comes in, we discuss whether we're gonna shoot him. It's early, we just sat down. There may be a bigger buck coming, but he may leave and we may not get a buck at all. And we wanna put some meat in the freezer. She's never killed a buck in Texas. This is a great one actually for the ranch. Sometimes we like to hunt to benefit that population on this ranch, and this one would be a perfect one to get out of the gene pool. All right, let's do this. I get a coin out, I flip a coin, heads you shoot him, tails you let him go. Whenever you're ready. Get another one in.
I couldn't believe it when you were saying no. I was like, oh my
I wanted to get him perfect focus. We waited so long.
I was so afraid he was going to go forward though.
This is my first Texas buck, perfect management buck. I've been out here a few times with Jay, and Jed and Victoria have been awesome. It's just a beautiful ranch, and the food is awesome. And Carson got to come out here with us this time, and Jay got an awesome buck yesterday. And it's just, every time we come out here, we have so much fun. Steve and Margaret, they're so awesome, and they take care of this ranch, and all the deer just flourish here. As you can see, they're super fat, and they do really good. They've got tons of cover and grass, and it's just a beautiful ranch and a perfect place for the deer habitat here, and we've had such a fun time.
Here in Texas, this is one that you need to see. The Premier Ranch is just loaded with history. You've got German immigrants that settled this in the 1870s. The buildings are still there. You know, you can go out to the family cemetery and you can see the people that started this ranch. And the Haverlas are keeping that tradition alive. They're trying to keep this ranch alive, rich in heritage, but also be great stewards of the land. The harvest is just part of it. You know, the big part for me at this point in my life is the people that you share that time with. Getting to have fun in the blind with Jed, getting to have dinner with Victoria and the kids has just been amazing. And then Steve and Margaret, just the kind of people you want to be around.